Well, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. That's a SWOT analysis. And that's what I'm going to do while I'm driving to my office here on the second day of the week. It is a Monday morning in Israel, and Monday is the second day of the week. Yesterday I was in my office listening and watching all the various streams I could find of the great UKIP Tommy Robinson Brexit betrayal march, which to me looked like a tremendous success. So let's do the strengths. The strengths are combining with UKIP. Tommy Robinson can put people on the streets, and the people that come out to support Tommy Robinson and UKIP and Brexit look like great British patriots, and I'm amazed and proud that a guy who I've been backing for a long time, and a cause that I backed from the very beginning. I mean, I live here in Israel, but I voted for Brexit. I still have a vote in the UK electoral system. I'm an ex-Brit. I came here 10 years ago. I'm Brian of London, by the way, and I hope you can all hear me properly. I backed Brexit. I even went on Israeli sort of semi-television, I-24 News, quite a few times. In fact, they booked me as the pro-Brexit person to have in the studio and to laugh at me when the vote failed. And in fact, I was in the studio on the day that the vote was announced, that the result came out, and so which was kind of funny, up against some, I don't know, spin doctory type chap who was looking a bit glum because he was doing he was playing the role of anti-Brexit, Project Fear. Anyway, strengths. That looked like a lot of people. And also, we'll move on to the media too. The numbers I heard on, and I listened last night deliberately to I think it was the BBC Radio 4 6 p.m. broadcast, which opened and led with Brexit, a whole segment on Brexit. But of course, this march barely got a mention. It got a couple of words, enough time for them to say, I think they said, did they say between 2,000 and 5,000 people was the BBC number that they gave on that radio broadcast. Now, anytime you hear somebody who can't estimate a number of people to plus or minus 3,000, so they're giving you a range of 2,000 to 5,000, that means they haven't got a clue or they're lying. And this is exactly what we saw outside the court case when outside, basically after the appeal, when Tommy Robinson's how do you put it, when the case was just like bashed back to the Attorney General, where it still sits in limbo because they don't know what to do with it. Again, that was when Ezra Levant, one of Ezra Levant's people, I think Andrew Lawton from Canada, he overheard the press literally conspiring or colluding in the courtroom. They were colluding to decide how to downplay the number of protesters in favour of Tommy Robinson outside, and that's what they did. And they did the same thing yesterday. Now, because you can't fly a drone in London, and because the mainstream media won't put up a helicopter, and the police won't give you access to aerial pictures, nobody could get a good shot of the crowd from above. It's a pity. I mean, if Tommy had more organisational, power, and if UKIP had more organisational power, a good thing to have done would have been to get someone in a hotel room along the route of the march, so we could at least get some video from high up. But, without that, it's very hard to tell. But I saw a long snaking march past the static camera point, and it took a long time, and some arsehole's about to try and cut me up, and I'm not going to let him. Anyway, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Strengths, lots of people. Weaknesses, I've just said, no clear coverage of the absolute scale of the march. Now, another strength, by the way, looked absolutely solid, peaceful. No football hooligan type stuff, which everybody, and especially Nigel Farage, looks like a complete idiot for bringing up. Those days are long gone. That relates to 10+ plus years ago, when Tommy did come from a background of football fans, let's say, young, angry men. That crowd, I'm sure, still follow, but that's not who came out for Brexit. That's not who you are. I know who you are. And you're not that crowd, and you're not looking to get beard up and go for a fight. Meanwhile, on the other side, we see, of course, pictures of Antifa doing what they normally do. I would say we saw the faces of evil, but we didn't see their faces because they were all face masked up, because they cover their faces because they know they are evil and they know they're going to be doing bad stuff. This is the nature of the beast that you are fighting in the UK. And the media, it's the same thing I've seen for years in Israel, okay? I mean, I'm talking to you now. Last night, a car drove up to a bus stop in Israel and sprayed bullets at a crowd of Jews. And a pregnant woman and her baby, which was delivered 10 weeks prematurely, are fighting for their lives in a hospital. You will not hear this, okay? You will not hear this. But I promise you, it will be part of the narrative that some Arab village gets turned upside down as we look for the terrorists. And it was a group of terrorists because they were in a car, somebody was driving, somebody was spraying bullets. And that's just the nature of it is. You don't hear it. Same thing with Antifa scuffles. Also, the language. I saw Antifa scuffles with police. They weren't scuffling, they were fighting with police. They were attacking the police. They did not want to stand where they were told to stand by the police. Police seem to be doing a great job. And that's the other thing is, the police who were opposing Antifa, and I like this too, the police on the Brexit march, no helmets, no riot gear. They looked just normal policemen wearing baseball caps, which I think looks stupid. Why can't they be wearing bobby hats? I just... do the picture thing. And the yellow jackets on the police, I think, is just dumb, especially in light of the Paris stuff. Anyway, the Antifa fascists were fighting with the police. They were fighting. They brought flares and smoke grenades, and they came armed up for a battle. And obviously, the police kept them right at the opposite end. Now, I know the geography of the area where the march was. Followed the Brexit march. I saw where it walked all the way down through Victoria. I used to work in lots of those buildings. Lots of them are government buildings. I worked in the big TfL building for a while, which you passed, one of the tallest buildings on Victoria. I saw where that march went, and that march then went through Parliament Square, the Brexit march, the Brexit betrayal march, and then it turned down Whitehall and stopped probably, I think the stages must have been quite near to the entrance to Downing Street. And I could see that the way that they took the fascist march, the Labour Party, the British UK Corbyn supporting Labour Party with their union members, obviously you were bussed in on buses they didn't have to pay for. They went down Regent Street, around Trafalgar Square, and they entered Whitehall, which is one road, at the opposite end. So Whitehall is a road, for those who don't know London geography, Whitehall is a road that leads from Trafalgar Square to Parliament Square. And at Parliament Square is where you have the Houses of Parliament, the Palace of Westminster, Westminster Abbey and Big Ben. So Antifa were at one end of Westminster, then a whole load of police, then the stage, then all of the great British patriots, pro-Brexit and stop this deal people. So you had police, a stage, and then the good people. So it was well laid out. I think that was fantastic. Obviously the police did a great job, and obviously the Antifa were absolutely gutted that they couldn't get anywhere near Tommy Robinson or his crowd. They couldn't be seen, they couldn't be heard. Nobody made reference. I think Tommy made one reference to them. Maybe behind the stage you could hear them, but fantastic. They were just completely out of the picture. And of course, that enables especially the media not to have to show them. So when I listen to the media, okay, let's do the media properly. the media deconstruction. So, what didn't happen at this rally? Well, a bunch of tattooed up to the eyeballs thugs, as Nigel Farage said, did not go on a rampage through London. So therefore, the media do not get the story that they wanted. They only wanted to tell you this story if it matched their preconceived notion. We have the same thing here in Israel. I'm not going to tell you the Genesis story, the foundational story of Israel, but whenever the press don't get that story, whenever they don't get it, they just don't show the story. That's how they operate. That's an opportunity today for our side because of social media, as long as we have it. But not just social media. And this is actually a message I think is very important to Tommy Robinson fans on Facebook. You should go and like the UKIP page. It's not to say that Tommy Robinson controls the UKIP page on Facebook, but at any moment, Tommy Robinson's Facebook page and his Instagram can be shut down. And believe me, the same people who were trying to hurt the police and get through a police line to beat up Tommy Robinson and his crowd, those same people are right now an online hate mob trying to get Tommy deplatformed everywhere. I mean, they've managed Patreon with Sargon, they've managed PayPal. They're coming for Facebook. It's just a matter of time. So go like UKIP. The reason I say that is that UKIP is still a properly constituted UK political party with enormous clout in terms of this. For UKIP's page to be taken down by Facebook or anywhere, or their Twitter, it's going to take an enormous act of bravery from Facebook. And right now, Facebook is in the doghouse with the British Parliament because Zuckerberg keeps doing things like not showing up to parliamentary committees. And of course, Facebook and Zuckerberg believe he's more powerful than the British Parliament, and he might well be. But the British Parliament is still going to make his life hard. If he starts trying to take down UKIP's Facebook page, I think that will be a step too far. So if you support Tommy Robinson, it's quite clear that in many ways the interests of UKIP and Tommy are aligning. You should be following UKIP in case Tommy goes dark. You should also be subscribed to any one of Tommy Robinson's lists, and I think if you've signed any of the petitions, you will be on his mailing list. That's a good thing. That's semi-independent. But this whole movement to shut down our speech on our side, it is coming for us. It is coming for us. Like yesterday, I'm shifting from Patreon to Subscribestar. Not that I get a huge amount of income from Patreon. It's nice. It just shows that some people at least value what I do. Thank you very much to those who've supported me there. I'm going to shift. I've opened an account on Subscribestar. If you want to tip me a dollar or two, it's well appreciated. But it's not the point of what I do. Anyway, so opportunities are, we go round the media this way. We go round the media, and what's more is when they lie, when the BBC downplay this, when the newspapers downplay this, when I saw that the woman from the Independent, the one who was in contempt of court in Leeds, according to the judge, she was at the march, and she was making fun of Lord Pearson's plummy accent. Yes, Lord Pearson speaks like a lord. That's what you want your lords to sound like. Lord Pearson of Rannoch. I mean, the guy is a living legend, and he spoke beautifully to that crowd. And I'll tell you what, that crowd is an anti-class warfare crowd. They are not your class warfare, middle class, spoon in the mouth, Antifa kids, okay? They don't care what class you are, that crowd yesterday. You have the range from Tommy Robinson up to Lord Pearson. You had a Czech guy. They don't care who you are. They care about your ideas, your ideology, your expressed beliefs. Whether you believe in Britain as a country, Britain as a sovereign nation, that's what they care about, not what your accent is. I can't, and Lizzie standing in the crowd there, mouthing off about Lord Pearson's accent on Twitter. How unbelievably crass is that woman. How unbelievably crass. She's got no commentary about ideas, about what was actually said. So she goes after Lord Pearson's accent. Lord Pearson's pretty sick, actually. He's very unwell, he's old, and he's up there on a stage in the cold 2 weeks before Christmas, giving an amazing speech. And you go on about his accent, Lizzie Independent. Really independent, writing for a blog, a newspaper that's so failed it can't even print itself anymore, and it's just a blog now. Ha! And you call yourself, and you think of yourself as a proper, respectable journalist. You're a joke. All of the media are a joke in Britain these days. But the strength is, and the pride is, so many people were there. They would have shared it on their Facebooks. Today, they'll be sharing every video they can find about it. They'll be sharing the videos of Antifa bashing the police. Hopefully, you'll be sharing my video. Do all of that, because that creates cognitive dissonance. That's a problem. That's when people who watch the BBC and read their newspapers and they say, the BBC said this was a small thing, but I'm seeing lots and lots of people sharing this and talking about this on Facebook. What happened? Where's the problem? And the BBC didn't really mention that Antifa were smashing the police. That would seem to be a relevant detail. How come I'm seeing clips of Antifa smashing away at the police? Anyway, I think I've ranted enough. I'm almost at my office. Thanks very much for watching this morning, and I'll stick this one up on YouTube soon. Thanks very much for supporting me on Patreon if you have been. Look out for my Subscribe Star page. Don't know much about Subscribe Star, but Sargon of Akkad jumped over to Subscribe Star, so I'm going to give it a try. We have to do anything to without government intervention, because I don't like that. We need the market to come up with solutions. If Patreon want to be far left, communist run, social justice warrior infected idiots and ban everything they don't like, then their company will fail. And I hope it fails as fast as possible. All right, morning from Israel, where we're praying for a young woman and the baby that was prematurely delivered after she was shot last night at a bus stop. That's what we're doing here. Life goes on for the rest of us. Bye.